Hi, I'm Amit,
And I'm Ankit.
and you're listening to Living Unbroken podcast,
Join us as we turn tragedy into empowerment.
exploring medicine, spirituality, politics, and all things accessibility. Finally, we are talking to each other, Ankit. We have talked about the CEO, we talk about the sex worker, we talk about the new sex technology is going to help us, we talk about the politicians, we talk about the makers. Now, bullshit, we're going to talk about each other. And no filters, bro. So don't bullshit up with me with a technical question. Okay, you're younger to me, even your Siri listen to me. So you better listen to me.
I don't even know how to respond to that bullshit comment about the Siri thing. I don't even know why that's even relevant here. So just you talk to me. Who are you?
So I'm Amit. I am a father, I'm a husband, I'm a intelligent, mind-blowing, look up, great son, older son. You know, my parents look after me. They want me amazingly. Such a great person I am. You know, I don't have the words. I cannot even find the words in the dictionary for myself, what my parents describe me. And
I can tell you what they described to me. They were like, well, we made a mistake. Let's fix it. Maybe the second one will be better.
no,
And that's me. My name is Ankit. I am your younger brother and also a co-host of the podcast, Living Unbroken. And it's my pleasure to be working with you. It's not my pleasure to say that, but we do work together and we have had some amazing guests, like you said, from CEOs to politicians to sex workers to PhD researchers. And honestly, it's been fun, even though you're an annoying person to work with. You are very knowledgeable and smart. And I am excited to go on this journey with you. So, why did we decide to do this podcast, Amit?
okay. I tell you the original story of mine. So in 2012, I had a motorcycle accident. You know it.
July 5th.
Yes. And all you remember the date. That's good. So, and that was, I don't remember anything about my accident. I don't, really, I don't.
And I remember everything about your accident.
Because I think so, my family is the one who dealt with it more than me. I dealt physically, mentally afterwards, but during that time, you can share it because I only know this part that I started my motorcycle before I left Granville and 16th, I believe. I could be there. And I just called my wife and told a message that tell my favorite cousin, Akanksha, to just be there for the exercise. I will be on time.
So, July 5th, I was coming back from the swimming class for one of my children. I barely parked my car. My dad comes out running. Our dad comes out running from inside the house frantically.
My dad, did you just say?
Our dad comes out running frantically with, dread and fear. And that's probably the best way to explain it. On his face, Amit has been in an accident. He's being taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. And yeah, that's when the world changed. We immediately all embarked on this journey to the hospital. You had been in a motorcycle accident that nearly killed you. It didn't kill you. And for all intents and purposes, whether it's divine luck, you ended up in front of the lawn of a heart surgeon who revived you on the scene of the accident. And you were within 10 minutes of the best trauma hospital in British Columbia, maybe one of the best in Canada. And you were there within minutes. There was code blue at the hospital. There's something called the golden hour of trauma in every possible way. Even with the worst possible accident, you had the best possible golden hour. I remember meeting with a doctor that evening when we got to the hospital, and they said, we don't have any hopes. However, they were very matter of factual, I would say, that reported on what they had done, basically kind of put you together, lots of sponges and everything on your body. And yeah, that was that unfaithful day that our life, your life, everyone in our family's life changed forever.
When you find it out that I'm in that situation, how did you manage when, wife, and I believe um, one of them was pregnant. My son was about to come out up, and my daughter, she was probably in grade 6 or 5 or something like that. 22, I don't want to do the maths. I'm not good at it. So, and then my parents, my family, your wife, and your Ayan was very young that time. And so how did you manage? Like, how did you manage all the commotion? And
So
if I'm not mistaken, that time is the time you were starting your own business too.
yeah, yeah, definitely not a fun time for the family at all. My daughter was 1 month old. My son was a year and a half old. My niece, your daughter, was 6 years old, 3 weeks away from her seventh birthday, and then your my sister-in-law, your wife, was pregnant about, I think, a few months in. So you had a baby a few months later. So, and my business was almost at the very beginning stages, so barely to a point where I could say that I'm able to pay myself a small salary. Nothing that I could actually live on, but at least pay for my kids' diapers and some food. So, and here you are in the hospital. My dad doesn't like the hospitals. Your wife is pregnant, very pregnant. I have a young daughter at home, a 1 month old, and a young son. So, yeah, there were some difficult uh, decisions to be made. Your journey for your life was not easy either. There were everyday decisions needed to be made. A lot of it fell on my shoulders to figure out what is it that we're going to do, what surgery that we're going to do that day. I mean, I think you had maybe close to 100+ surgeries. Maybe you would know the number. From facial reconstruction to your everything that required to stabilize your neck, to your big surgery that ultimately was able to save your life. Because I remember on exactly a month later, they told us and said that there's nothing we can do. There's absolutely no chance that he's going to make it. And at that point, we had to call all of our family over from all over the world and say, hey, come say goodbye. You had been in an induced coma the whole time, so you were basically not a vegetable, because I think vegetables still look healthy. Maybe a rotten tomato. Yeah, you looked really
Not
bad,
rotten
man.
meat.
Yeah, lots of.
Rotten meat.
Yeah, it looked it. I mean, I think your face was like the size of a watermelon. Your eyes looked like you were a fish. They were on the sides because that's how swollen your face was. And there was just, it didn't seem like, it's a dream right now, to, nightmare, obviously, to even think about and talk about. And I don't want to maybe spend too much time on that in this episode. And reality was that I think a lot of people who are listening to this podcast have had their own versions of that story in their lives where they had an injury that changed them forever. And some of them were more traumatic, less traumatic, but the impact on their lives were, and their family members and their siblings and parents and spouse and children was incredible.
It is. I think so. I am one of the stickers on the Vancouver General Hospital emergency. How that is this guy is still living.
Yeah.
I remember when I got rehab and I went back to the to meet emergency doctors. They were literally scared and excited to see me. How this guy is still alive, and I'm very glad to my family, entire family, who did very worked hard, and you, your wife, my wife, my kids, my everybody, just to support, because I think so. I would have not been alive if I would not been supported.
No, you wouldn't for sure.
110%.
Yeah. I mean, they were going to pull the plug on you. We had to pull a lot of legal and personal and emphasize so many things that we just wouldn't have had we not guaranteed they would have just let you go.
And plus, I'm the favorite to my mom and dad, so they want to make sure I am alive. They don't want to end up with you only.
That's not what they tell me though. Actually, they tell me otherwise.
Alright. They just pretend to be in front of you. Oh, please eat this roti, beta. Not
Yeah.
otherwise. They just
I think in the
love
show
me.
notes we're gonna
They just
post a
love
picture
me.
of the family, and then we'll let the audience decide who they think looks the most like the family, and who looks like who's adopted.
Adaptation is not. I totally support adaptation, but you are just different, buddy. That's okay. It's okay. I support you the way you support
Yeah.
me. But no, Ankit, really. Although our journey is very challenging. After my accident, after the rehab and everything, I felt it. Everything is gonna be fine. And when I came back home, the new reality of disability clicked in. Now I'm disabled. I'm 33-year-old guy who's riding a motorcycle, jumping off the plane, and driving a sports car. Everything is being changed for me. Now I'm riding on a wheelchair. You know, going to somebody's house is challenging. Going to travel is going to be challenging. Going to get up in the morning, if that person doesn't show up in the morning for me, it's going to be challenging. You know, it was a very mental level upside down for me, even though I looked at tough from outside, from inside for 9 years. It took me 9 years just to get out of this shell. So, I would say I'm a nice butterfly wasn't remaining in the cocoon, the caterpillar, for that 9 years to just come out. I still can't believe it that I wasted my 9 years of my life. Accident happened, but it took me 9 years to just come out of the shell. It's just not to face the real world or face the real disability, to face the real rehabilitation for me. And that is one reason when I start mentoring others and looking others, spinal cord injured, disabled people. So I have peers who are polio infected, I have peers or autism, people who are visually impaired. And I met them, I realized it. The world is not different. We are all same. We all say we just can't do the same way. That's why people call us disabled. But it's not that reality. So, and then I met people who have done achievements. So one of my mentor, Rick Hansen, he's a paraplegic, rolled and around the world in wheelchair, makes me a motivation. And I remember you were the first one who sent me to an event to meet him in person. I was so excited. I've never been excited to meet somebody that much. And that's where I thought I need to do something. And that's where I came to you and approached you, because I know
It's okay. You can say nice things about me. I know it's hard, but just say it.
You're a
Get
better
it off your
company.
chest. Just say it.
This is off the record. We're not going to say it and repeat it again. But yes, you're a better communicator. You're a better person. You're a better entrepreneur than me. And so I wanted you to come, although you're stupid younger brother of mine. But yes, I have to say it. So I came to you and approached you. We need to do something. And that's where we started this podcast, Living Unbroken. And I never had a thought about it to do a nonprofit and everything. And you are the one who decided, yes, we should do this one as a nonprofit for people's benefit, bring out these guests who have changed the life, who have changed their lives and changed everybody else's life.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I consume a lot of content, have for a long time. It's probably what allowed me to be able to bear what I was experiencing at the time when you were in the hospital and in my life personally and around me, with my parents, with your family, and still be able to show up prepared and organized and accomplish is by listening and consuming a lot of positive content. So I've been listening to podcasts for a long time. And for me, this was a way of doing something that's just not for myself. Being a business owner, you end up being slightly selfish because everything is about your business's survival and thrival. And it's not that it's selfish, but you have responsibility towards your employees, towards your suppliers, and you take that seriously. So you have to do a lot there. Whereas I think this was truly an opportunity for me to do something for others and not just for me. In fact, I mean, obviously I get a lot out of it myself, but really it comes from a place of, I think I'm enough. Yes. Do I want more? Yes. Do I need more? Oftentimes I feel that way, but this was for others. And, I know as annoying as you are still an inspiration to me, for the fact.
Don't mention the benefits. You always getting it taken from me. Going to the movie theater free, skipping the line at the Las Vegas when you want to go to the roller coaster, when you want to go to watch the Jerry Seinfeld or things comedy show, and you want to skip it.
Yeah, there are there are some
Don't,
small
not
benefits.
small benefits, bro. Most of the benefits, you're enjoying it.
Yeah, you're talking about the access to companion card where you have to take in a companion and then the companion goes for free.
Yes, I don't understand why the companion has to be free.
Yeah.
I have to be free.
But don't forget, the companion has a job. Like they're free for a reason, so they can support.
No, they're not. Skipping the line because I remember.
I mean, I mean, if you're using the benefits that you get for having a challenge, then it's not illegal. It's not wrong. It's not immoral. It's just playing the cards. You're dealt.
Yeah, but you can skip the line for a coffee line. You made me skip a coffee line. You made me skip a roller coaster line. You even made me skip even going to the strip club line. Hey.
I have never done that. I don't know what you're talking about. That's completely off the charts. Anyway, coming back to my point, I think where we ended up with the podcast is we ended up wanting to do this, and the journey has been incredible. The kind of people we've met, I didn't think we'd be able to punch above our weight class like this studio. People don't realize this studio is amazing, and there's some incredible people that we've shared this space with, and we're impressed. Even the producer here is impressed with the kind of guests we're able to line up, and mostly you actually. I just show up and ask the questions, and for me, the purpose of the podcast is to really show that when you do something for others, it can be impactful. It can make a difference in other people's lives. And honestly, my vision, and I know you and I share this, but maybe you can share your version of it, is to be an amazing podcast, period, to rival some of the best podcasts in the world done by able-bodied people, but be focused on people with disabilities, by disabilities, for the disabled, by the disabled, and not that the content doesn't need to be lower quality because it's for people with disabilities. In fact, it should parallel, if not surpass, what exists for able-bodied people alone.
This podcast journey just not emphasizing me in my outer side of the world where I'm bringing the people around the world from North America. We're going across the world pretty much now. We will have a guest coming in from the United Kingdom. It just bring out them who have done incredible work for the civil community and bring it out to the world in public to understand that we are not always in the back of the bus or we are not the last one or the first one to get onto the bus. But also to my personal journey with you. If my family or my cousins and everybody are cousins, if they see this, they will be fucking shocked in that. Because they cannot believe it. These two guys who can throw each other in the wall are spiritually so much connected. Can imagine you are the same guy who don't want to do any all those spirituality. Now you're in a fast track of spiritual journey. I'm fast track on a spiritual journey. We are talking to each other different ideas, I think that this is the greatest thing ever. My parents are shocked to see us working together on something not getting benefit for us.
Yeah, growing up, you were a really bad brother. Like, honestly, I don't even know why I had a brother. What did you do for me? I don't even know. Like, as an older brother, you had responsibilities towards me that you should have taken, and you show no remorse. It's not like you like look back. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should have done some big brother stuff. I was like, yeah. You were just like, no, this is a piece of shit, and I don't have nothing to do with him. And that's how you behaved. And I'm just like, how am I able to get past that and have a normal relationship? Actually, a good relationship. I don't think most siblings have a relationship that's this good. Like, you're definitely probably one of my best friends. And like you and I could talk about anything. We have 40 plus years of shared history of our parents and like our cousins and uncles and aunts. And yeah, that I think your accident probably helped with that. And definitely, I think mostly me of all the positive spirituality work, not you, that I have done. Maybe a little bit you. Yeah.
So you're thinking like accident change. Think about it this way. I always, before my accident, I always thought, why do we have this guy? Why did my parents, when they have the excellent kid already, why they need a second one?
Yeah, you showed up that way. That showed in
that's
how
the
you behaved.
parents' thing. Just like us. Just a backup system. And this one doesn't work. This guy will work.
Look, there was a reason for it. See? You got into such a bad accident. Yeah. So I'm glad that they did that. It was a logical reason. They knew they could support each other.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But honestly, I think you're a smart guy, even with all the deficiencies. You're actually, you've accomplished a lot. I actually talk about some of the awards you won since your journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I got an award in Hispanic Orange BC, GS Strong, Gert Warscher Award. I've got an award from City. Now I'm in the City Accessibility Committee as a co-chair. I'm with the Disability Alliance in the board. I feel disability didn't stop me. The 9 years, the one I was talking about when I was a manager, that was just my mindset. I think so my disability have not stopped me. My disability has more sharpened me. My disability has more brought me as full flower oriented. My disability has made me achieve things which I could have never achieved. I believe I'm so glad and happy that I got disabled.
Wow. You're seriously, you're saying that?
Yes,
Okay.
I feel I would have never seen this side of the world. I never would have achieved what I'm achieving. What I would have never been, you and me, been that much closer if I would have not. I would never been closer to the entire this people around me and never been so soft. Yes, people achieve this in the able body. I wish I would say, how they say, you listen it, otherwise the time will teach you. I guess the time taught me
Mm.
in a harder way because I guess I was not listening in a way. So the time has to teach me in a harder way to understand what the life is. And now I am so glad and happy that this happened to me. Otherwise, I would never been crossed that bridge. I would have been just stuck on the same bridge and you would have been stuck on the other side of it. Think
Yeah.
about it. Like, you and me are so well connected, which we don't want to be.
Yeah, honestly, I know you're. I was just getting surprised for the podcast purpose. I already know that you've said that before because I know a lot of people who I brought up your accident with, in my business and my personal and my friends and all those connections. Everybody I knew that I had a brother who was in a bad accident, and everybody I would meet ever since then, in the last however many years, they will always ask, "How's your brother? How's your brother?" And honestly, I'm like proud to say to them, so many of them, like, I think he's one of the happiest people, if not the happiest person I know in my life, even with the challenged life that he faces every day. And, they're blown away by that. And, that is, for our audience, if they think about what is the possibility here, I don't think you were as happy as you are now that you were before your accident.
No, I'm
Think about
not.
that for a moment. Like, you can't put yourself to bed. You can't wake up from bed. You can barely feed yourself. You are missing limbs. You are in a power wheelchair. The amount of deficiencies from compared to someone like me, who's an able-bodied person, and just in your physicality, you know, I had a broken ankle, and I used to be upset about that. And I knew I was going to be a few weeks in a cast, and then I was going to be out of it. It really is an insane amount of inspiration for a lot of people, especially with the mental health pandemic that we're facing in this society. People who are wealthy, or at least seemingly wealthy, able-bodied, all of these things, and they're not happy. So tell maybe kind of give us some insight on what makes you so happy, even with the challenge you face. I mean, let's not downplay that. That's an important piece.
And for example, I give you. See, that day, do you remember when one of my workers, he was sleeping, he's supposed to come in late in the night, he was sleeping, and then you and me sitting down, is your worker is coming, and then we have to drive down and wake him up, bring him to to work, literally, buddy, take a car, come and walk with us.
Yeah, just for clarity, because you're laughing so much, I want to make sure. So it's like 10 o'clock at night. Your worker should have been there an hour before. We're calling him, texting him. He's not answering. And you and I are together, and you are getting tired at this point. You've been up since 5, 6, whatever o'clock in the morning. You need to get to bed. We can't get you to bed. So we're like, okay, we're going to drive down to where he lives, get in the car. You start driving, and we show up at his house in the middle of, 10:30 at night, and ring his doorbell, wake him up from his bed, and have him follow him in his car so he shows up to your house. That's what we had to do. So you could go to bed that night.
Think this way. That is the challenge. But I look at it as a comedy that the employer mind must be thinking, these assholes won't let me even sleep. They literally come to my house, wake him up, and drive me to work, start working, and make sure you drive in front of us so we cannot sneak out in front of us. So I feel that, in these 9 years when I had a challenge, I used to have a lot of nerve pains. So I started looking, searching for pain because I was taking 100 grams of gabapentin, which is a nerve medicine, and I was taking 65 milligrams of neotripletin, which is also a nerve medicine, pain medicine. And I was taking it, and I was 33. 1 year I took it, and I realized that these medicines gonna kill me, literally gonna kill me. So I started searching for pain solution. And then gave me
Yeah.
Shikumar Rao at the YouTube channel, and I started watching his channel, and then and I start connected to him. What is he talking? What is he talking about the spirituality and meditation and everything? And then you recommend me a book of placebo from Dr. John Cow. I forgot his last name because you know that after disability, I skip memory.
You were always like that.
So, and I start reading about it, and then I start working on myself through my meditation, closing my eyes, working on this worry. And my goal was just to know not happiness, not a peace, nothing, all those things, just to figure out how to get rid of all those chemicals, medicines which I'm taking and get my pain off my schedule, off completely so that I can sleep better. I don't have to be floggy all the time. Because imagine gabapentin, it's just a chemical drug you're taking. If you imagine, and then I'm taking Tylenols and all those thing medicines. So I figured out if I'm keep doing this, I'm not gonna be living forever. And it's affecting my moods, it's affecting a lot of things for me. And that's how I started. And when I start doing meditation and everything, I tap onto that battle to realizing it. What is there now? All there it is. There is no other way. So I start living into a moments of my life. And I've realized that all the things gonna happen doesn't matter whether I do it or not do it. These things would have happened because I always have a question why it happened to me. I cannot find an answer. There's not gonna light bulb of God gonna show up and tell me this is what happened for you. No, I will not get that answer at all. So I don't stop looking for that answer and start working on myself, how I can get better, how I can be a person with disability, but not really disabled. A person who can think about the other things in their life, who can be grateful, who can be thankful for everything I have around it. And when I start doing that, it automatically, I would say it's just what do you call it, side effects in medicine. So I guess these were the side effects of my meditation. When I start taking everything very lightly, gracefully, and everything. And I don't know if you remember when I started doing it. I told you got to do vipassana, and you used to always dude, I don't have time, got to work and everything. And now, once you did vipassana, the 10 days of silence meditation, you felt that you have just touched that barrel, that where the oil is going to come.
Hmm.
And that's how it started to me. And now, meditation is just not an act for me. For me, meditation is just my meditative life. Every second is just to be being meditative. That's my life is. Because there's nothing I can do. I can do anything is not in my control. Are you a fan of the podcast?
We created a safe space for members of the community to discuss topics in accessibility, seek help, and exchange resources to make life better.
Join our inclusive community by emailing us at livingunbrokenorg@gmail.com.
Take me to the point when so you got home from the hospital. You were obviously severely disabled at this point, and you got home. Kind of walk me through the journey of like what did you experience at that point? in terms of both physicality and what was going on in your mind and maybe around you a little bit, your work and all that. And then, slowly, obviously, to the point where you were a very happy person. So, like, what were you like when you initially came home?
So when I came home, I have medical challenges, though there were still medical challenges. I still have to face it. And on top of that, now I'm relying on somebody, a person who's outside my control, who's going to come on a certain time. This is the time I can come in to put you to bed. This is the time I can get you up ready. Then realizing into the point where now I cannot access the kitchen. I cannot access this. I cannot drive. All those things were just flip. I have to rely on somebody.
And how did that feel?
It felt frustrated. I remember I was drinking coffee cup and I will have argument with my family members, somebody, my mom or my wife or my daughter, and I'd throw the Starbucks cup coffee down. Those were the moments.
Like you were angry, you mean?
Literally so much anger about it. And
What was the anger towards yourself or others or the
towards
situation?
myself.
Yeah.
And the situation. The situations were just triggering me. That anger was inside me. The situations were just triggers
Yeah.
to bring out those things. And so nothing to do with situations, just anger was inside me because now I am not what I was before.
Yeah.
I remember in the nights I used to cry a lot. My worker is gone, I will cry. So much crying. My wife would come from the room and she would look at it, I'm still crying. I will be have a nights where I am wet all night. My worker has to come in. And after now, he has to give me a shower. So imagine, you're a 30-year-old guy who's jump off the plane, doing all those.
What do you mean jump off the plane? What are you saying?
I did skydiving.
Okay, so you went skydiving before you got into the accident. Obviously, and you got into a motorcycle accident, so you're riding motorcycles.
And before that, you remember we went to we went to that camping trip in Oregon.
Yeah, we were
With
riding ATVs and
right?
sand dunes. You were used to ski.
Not ski, snowboarding.
Snowboard, yeah.
Yeah, and all. So I mean,
And you were traveling. You were traveling alone sometimes in the world. Germany here and there. You went from someone who's a very active person doing a lot of adventure sports and doing some exciting things in his life, and all of a sudden now you're homebound 24/7, and you physically cannot even put food in your mouth. And so I just want to, because I know people listening to this are in that spot, or they're trying to understand, like, what was that like, right? Or their family members in that spot, and they want to empathize or sympathize with them.
So that's what happened. So I don't remember. We used to go football play. Do you remember
We used to play football, yeah, like
we
flag
played
ball, yeah,
table
flag football,
tennis.
yeah,
All those things now I cannot do it.
yeah.
Or I can do it, but in a different way. Now the friends who are hanging around with me, the friends are not there anymore because for them is also irony. What is this guy gonna do? So everything has been flipped for me. So the situations were like that, and because of that, I felt up a lot of anger inside me.
Anger and sadness, obviously, because you were saying you would cry at night.
And
Like
anger is
yeah.
as we say, first you irritates, then you get anger, then you want to kill yourself, and then you want to cry yourself.
Did you ever get to that point?
Those are the 4 stages.
But did you get to those other stages?
Yes, I get first irritated about the situation,
Yeah.
then I will get anger about the situation, then I really literally want to kill myself, or I had wild thoughts in my head, what the fuck I'm doing in this, why the fuck I'm alive, like why did my family save me?
You thought about that?
Yes.
Because the doctors were asking that, when they were trying to demotivate us from saving your life, because they had to do something very drastic. They had to do what's called the hemipelvectomy. For people who don't know, it's a cancer specialist. It's an oncologist that gets involved, cancer surgeon who has to do a very drastic surgery. Very likely that people don't even survive that surgery, let alone all the other complications that were going to come from it. And so your life had changed significantly. I had to make that decision, along with the family, to whether
That's
to
why
do it or not.
That's why I still hate you about that.
Okay. Well, that's the only way to save your life. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro, right now. But so then you said, okay, so why did my family save me? And so and then just kind of
And
help paint
I
that
felt
proper
it in
picture.
that moment, as I said, stage by stage. So felt I will get irritated about certain situations. Then anger will come in. My anger will be, broke things. Don't want to eat. Don't want to talk about it. I will wait. And then the moment will come and why the literally I thought, I told my wife about it, why the fuck you guys saved me? For what? I don't have any emotion. What is it for? And then,
What did she say? Because yeah.
my son was born
Yeah.
when I came home.
Well, you were
And
still in the hospital when he was born.
yeah, that moment was, see, in the hospital, when you're in the hospital, you're pretty much in marathon and related days of pains. I remember when I was in ninth floor in October, I couldn't talk, and my family had to literally let my fucking dumb shit game. I have to get frustrated.
So you're talking about when you had a tracheostomy and then you couldn't talk, so we had to use your eyes to use alphabets to talk, right? But coming back to, so like when you were in the hospital, it didn't really hit you what had happened. It's when you got home is when it really hit you.
Yes.
And then you talk to your wife about, like, why did you guys save me? Should have just let me go. Yeah, to talk a little bit.
That was it.
And then did you want to end?
Yeah, that was the moments where a lot of time there were the moments where I want to kill myself. I
Okay.
want to get off from this roller coaster I'm on it now. And that's where the third, fourth stage came to me. I will start crying in the night, feel sad about it. And my mental state was just going up and down and up and down. There was like times when you come in, I will be laughing, family will be coming. So I will be fine. There will be moments I really don't want to be because now everybody's gone. And, I have to worry about it, how I'm going to go to pee now, how I'm going to go to bed, how I'm going to go do my bowel movement. All those moments, entire my family, they will not think about it, or they will think about it, but they cannot practically experience it, what I was experiencing. And then on top of it, my partner who's with me, thanks to Punam, who's still with me, she has to deal with all those things, learn everything about me. Imagine, she's not a nurse or anything, and she has to learn everything, how to do those things. And because what if the worker doesn't show up? What if who is going to be responsible for you? How I'm going to get up in the morning at the bed? We can just get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I remember before my accident, when I was able body, I can just get up in the morning, go downstairs, go have 18 rounds of a golf course. Now I cannot play golf anymore. Now, so I tried different things to entertain me, but those were just like a pocket of, how take a drug and the pain is numb for a few minutes and then the pain has come back. That was like, and that's where I'm so glad that you gave me those videos. You gave me that book to read about it.
Well, so now I'll share my side of it because I saw it, as your brother, even if you didn't tell me, but I could sense it. I'm not,
You are stupid. Don't worry about that.
I'm not unaware of what you were feeling. I was aware, and I could tell in the way you were talking, you would express things, and I knew that you needed that. So in my quest, when I would be learning myself, I would always, I gave you my Audible account membership, all the things I was learning, I would come back and share with you. And I remember specifically when I met Sri Kumar Rao at a conference, I reached out to him, I talked to him, I brought his content back to you. I remember still the day when you were upstairs in your room, and I brought, because I was intentional about it. I was, for me, this was an opportunity to give, and I really was constantly thinking about that. And I think that's the lesson here is that don't give up on people around you, because if they're going through a tough time, you can what you do matters. I think those, like you just said yourself, like what brought you here is every little thing that everybody did, including all the things that you did and still do. But so if there's caregivers and family members that are listening to this and they're like, well, this person's negative or blah blah blah, it's like, that's okay. Let them, they can be who they are. You shouldn't change who you are based on who they are, right? Like you can still do your part of being a good parent, sibling, partner, spouse, child, all of those things, right? So I remember that, and I think it was probably sometime, because I think this would have been like late 2013 is when I would have brought out the Shikumar Rao book and kind of the conversation around that with you, right?
Yeah, and that's how I started my journey. And I realized that.
And so now that you know what you know, and you are the person that you are today, but you're no longer that person who was suicidal, call it. You didn't do it, but you were wanting to. And to the now where you're one of the happiest people, if not the happiest person I know in my life. I genuinely mean that, considering, and I mean, especially considering the challenges that you live with. And for others that are listening, what is it that, what advice would you give to that Amit at that time? If you could somehow magically talk to the Amit from 2013 who had just come home and was suicidal and just realized his life has just changed significantly.
I say to him, everything happened in your life is for a good reason. If you cannot put a reason, whether it's good or bad, just say it's a reason. Something happened to you. There's nothing in your control. You cannot go back in a time, reverse it. I wish everybody's working on a time, but since I know for 45 years, nobody has returned the time back. So there is no way you can go back in a time and fix things. What you have right now is all there it is. There is no other way. So for you to accept it and live with it, and live with it is not in a dramatic way, and live with it what you were before. Your personas are not a permanent thing. It's the same persona. When you go to the work, it's a different persona. When you go back to your home, there's a different persona. When you're with your friends, you're a different persona. When you're with your brother, with your wife, different personas you're dealing with it. So you have to pick up, because it's just a mask on it. It's just a body, you're living in it, which is broken. Yes, it's broken, but there's nothing I can do about it. If there's a pill, I can take a pill and fix it. Then why do I have to resent about it? Why do I have to feel bad about it? Why do I have to cry about it? I can just be happy about it. I can make a life. You know what? You must have seen it. A lot of comedians, when they talk about, they're not talking about a joke. They just talk about their life journey. There are things happening to them. And we laugh about it. Same thing. So I felt that I should be that comedian. I should just laugh about it, what do I have. Why do I have to worry about it? Because
Is that one of the regrets you have, that you didn't get to the stage you are at earlier?
I feel, yes, I wish I would have tapped this battle before even my accident.
Yeah. And so maybe also to give a message to the caregivers and the family members of people who are going through, right? So
For the caregivers and the family members, the most important thing for somebody who's gone or going through this challenge is love is the only thing. As much love you can give it. Not want to do things for him. Don't want, like, because a lot of people are like, if I do this, you don't have to. We just have to love him. It's just a love. When you go home, okay, I'm not going to talk about it, but when you go home, our mom, she get up and goes to the kitchen and make a food for us. That is not her duty. That is her just love towards us. That making her to do things. That is her love towards the food, towards us. And that's what the caregivers, especially the caregivers, especially the family members. And, they are the ones, like I tell my caregivers, I am the one, I get up first light in the morning, it's my caregiver. She or he comes in the morning, get me ready, get me on. And they are the last ones I'm going to see their face. What if I don't get up?
But then let's say, there's you that's physically going through what you went through, but there's people like your wife or mom and dad, myself, who are around you. They have their own version of loss, right? And here you are telling them, why did you save me? Where they have their own versions, like, why did we save him?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe what do you think they should know?
See, they should just look at the one reason. Why did they save me?
But not just they save you, but like not now they have a spouse or a child or a parent who's now in the position that they're in. What's their role, or why has this happened to them? Because they could go into the same trail of thought of like, oh my God, my life sucks because my husband or brother or dad, whatever, has gone through this, right?
See, that's what I said, love is the only way for them to express their love towards you. And so that the person can, because once the person comes out like me, it's going to be benefitable for situations, for anything. They don't think this is why we have this podcast. This is why we start this podcast. So bring out those people who are disabled and they're doing amazing things so their caregivers and other caregivers and family members can understand they're not done.
Yeah, like one of the things you said, one of the podcast episodes, and someone else said that they came close to it. You said disability is not a disadvantage, and that's one of your things you say. And then, but not just disability is not a disadvantage. In fact, you said that disability is an advantage.
Well, you're taking it.
Right? I mean, for me, yeah, for sure. But how, what is it that makes you say that? Why is disability an advantage?
Because you look your life in a different perspective. Now you know more closely what are the challenges you face in your life. They are just, people get tense about their financial challenges. I'm not saying they're not wrong. People get tense about their losing their job. People get tense about their losing their wife. People tense about having a divorce. But when you're disabled, your life is in a different perspective because now picking up a toothbrush from going to the washroom, forget about your life, wife, or anything else. That's the challenge. You're just living survivalist challenge. That is just a survival instinct. It's just challenging. So now, once you come out of that over survival, that's give me an idea of changing my perspective of looking the life differently.
I mean, as annoying as you are, this is actually very profound what you just said. Yeah, like I know it's hard for me to appreciate sometimes things you say because of the relationship we have, but I do appreciate it because I think it's very profound and I think more people need to hear it. And I'm a obviously part-time caregiver. Only when we're hanging out together, you're taking me out for, we're going out together for stuff, and I don't see it as a challenge. I mean, it's like I have children, right? So I've raised my children. I've had to do diaper changes and take them to the bathroom as they got older and whatnot, right? I didn't see that as a challenge. I saw that as an opportunity to connect with my child and yeah, it was my responsibility also, but it was it connected me with my child, right? So I see it from that perspective. So for the caregivers and for siblings and friends that sometimes lose touch with their friends because they have changed, and I think what we do matters. That's the other thing. And then you become a role model, right? Like you have now inspiration around you from someone whose life was impacted positively, and you don't have to get it from other people. It's just from within you. You know that what you did mattered, and that's why we're doing this podcast, is to find people like you who have also gone through their own versions of challenges in their lives, and experienced trauma or loss or all those things. But with having said all that, there is one thing that you really make everybody around you work really hard. What is it that how far can you push somebody to just like we were hanging out with your friends the other day and they're all your people with disability friends and we're at his house and poor guy he's got disability of his own and half an hour I've been sitting there. He hasn't sat down for a moment. He's just running around serving, tea and pizza and snacks. I'm like, hey man, can you sit down? And then before I finished saying the sentence, another friend of yours is sitting there is like, no, Ankit, don't tell him. Amit won't let him sit. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought it was just us at home, but no,
Yeah, deja vu for you.
it's like my dad, my sister-in-law, like it was just like it's an army of people. It's just working around you.
I'm just keep sharpening up their diamonds.
Yeah.
You ever seen it like, jewelry shop? When you go to jewelry store or a diamond
I don't know. I know I don't go to the jewelry stores, but I can maybe relate to that.
But you must have bought a ring for your wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you don't, or have you seen the copper one? When you don't do anything, they get blacked out and oxidized, deoxidized.
Yeah,
That's the right word to that?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have to rub it. So that's what I'm doing every day. All these people.
Oh,
So
you're
I
doing
can-
it for us. You're. It's not for you.
So
It's
when
so
they face challenges, so they know, okay, you know what? This is why I'm doing this.
Oh, you're so kind. So you make us work really hard for our own sake.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is
See,
such
but
a
think about this way,
perspective shift.
it's just like my podcast.
I think
Why I'm bringing all these people is not for me, for the other people to rise.
I think this is you have like what it takes to start a cult. This is what cult leaders do, right? It's like you're doing it for you sacrificing your life is for your own good. That's what like all these cult leaders in the States and around the world like.
No. See, again, you're looking at a different perspective now. I'm telling you, this is not for us. See, you think about it. Okay, see, you gave me the Sri Kumar Rao book for
Yeah.
me to come out of it. But who is now more spiritually connected, you or me?
Well, I mean, I'm always better.
Uh,
No, but you know what?
who went to Vipassana?
Yeah, I did.
And
Yeah.
how many times you been to Vipassana?
Yeah, no, and I love it. I love that community.
And
Anybody,
you taking
yeah.
the kids too?
Yeah,
And you push my mom?
yeah.
You're going to do the dad?
I think there is something in meditation, and that is an amazing skill for people with disabilities. To be honest, well, I mean, it's good for everybody, obviously, but you have to stay still, and sometimes it's easier for you to stay still because there's fewer body parts to move than maybe me, and maybe that's not the right thing to say. But the point is that it is an amazing skill, and anybody can do it because it's all in your brain, right? It's all in your mind. So we've had some amazing guests. Maybe at some point we should talk a little bit about the guests that we've talked to.
So our guest, see, think about it. We have a guest, she's a politician. She's been disabled for a long time. And
Yes,
she's been
Stephanie Cadu.
advocating accessibility in Canada, and what are the ways she can do it. She's pushed to the politics, pushed the politicians, pushed the policymakers to change the laws for us, for disabled people, to live better. It's just not for us better, because in the end of the day, able-bodied people like you is going to have benefits too.
Yeah, one thing she said on the podcast, Stephanie Cadu, she's the Chief Accessibility Officer for Canada and has had a very illustrious political career. She was also the Minister of Family, I think, for British Columbia, and has been a member of Parliament or a member of Legislative Assembly, MLA, in BC. And she said, what's good for people with disabilities is good for people, period. Everybody, right? Like everything from the closed captioning to text messaging to automatic transmission in cars to buttons to open the doors. Like, I
No,
I press that all the time.
electric toothbrush.
Yeah, yeah,
We just had a guest today itself. He was talking about it, how innovation of disabilities can improve just not the life of disabled. Eventually, everybody's gonna be using it. It just has to be mainstream. It's like the touch screen on the phone,
yeah,
right? It's the text messages. Now people don't talk. People text messages. That's so it's just a
yeah.
mass function. It's gonna. We have a guest coming, Justin. He is from Neil Scott Society, Makers Make Change. They're engineers and they're putting their life and energies to making the equipments of accessibility equipment, so like toys, uh, accessibility remotes, equipments, TV, um, switches, electronic, all those ones accessible on a very low cost so people can, because there is a business entrepreneur side of it, business side of it, where you can buy those accessible things to higher pricing, but they're bringing it to low cost, very low cost, so the people in disability can, and he's an engineer, he doesn't have to do this thing. He's working for a non-profit organization for not for his survival, just to make the change for us.
Yeah, I mean that was amazing. That episode I remember clearly because I felt like, James Bond going to meet Q. That
Yeah.
scene that happens in every James Bond movie where he goes to meet that guy who creates all the tech gadgets, the car and like the fancy pen that has a button and it blows up, and the watch and all that stuff. That literally what it felt like to be in that episode, and all the gadgets that he brought out to show us. And I was like, wow, it's basically like the last mile of everything that exists for people with or without disabilities that they convert to people with disabilities. So for me, I can hold this cup no problem. I know you are able to now, but it took some effort. And I remember when you had a special device for your spoon so you could hold on to that spoon because you can't have a full grip. And the remote control that you were part of the Xbox controller team, it was I was as an able-bodied person, I was blown away by that episode. I think Justin is incredibly smart, very talented, and so committed to doing what he does. Like he's so passionate about, and there's no personal challenge in his life that inspired him. For me to be here, it took my brother to be disabled. I don't think that's there for him. It's
No,
because
he was working as a volunteer for Neil's Curse Society, and now the full time there. And he's an engineer. That's what I'm
yeah,
the thing. He can get that job. He's in a mechanical engineer. He can get anything on to do that. But he's doing this thing just to make a change, because these are the people who have, as I said, we were talking about the love. That is what the love is.
right,
That is
right.
exactly what is love is, not a relation, and that's what the love is. They're putting their effort and energy and their emotions into building these products for us, and just not for millions of people. They have programs, they have built 3D printing sessions. So now just think about it, like my car keys. They made it a car keys 3D printed for me, so I can easily put in the car, start the car, drive my car. Just a
And did they
little,
charge you for that?
no, $0.
So imagine, so
Just a
these
smile on the
people that are
face.
working together, they made a custom object, one piece for you for absolutely free. Like, who does that? That's incredible.
Yeah.
The society and the work that these people do is incredible. And then we also had Joshua from Spinalpedia.
Yeah, so this person, he's a lawyer, he's a quadriplegic, he's higher injured than me, and he
Yeah,
runs
he was
on,
in a sit and puff wheelchair, right?
yes, and he runs an organization called Spinalpedia, because when it's like, in your able body, you want to learn something about a car, or you want to learn about something about your business, you read a book, or look on YouTube how to do that thing. So what he has created an organization which has a lot of videos from around the world, people who are disabled. So for example, for me, when I was eating with the spoon with the red tube attached to it, I felt it is stupidest thing I ever have to eat it. I don't want to eat that. This is a fucking bullshit thing. This is a great thing, but not, I don't want to do it. So I learned from a video searching like that from a person. She's a lady. She's a model and she's a quadriplegic now. And how she, face make her face, how she brushes her, for the makeup on it and everything. How she hold her brush. I learned it from. And that's what Spanopedia is about. YouTube channels of different around the world of a database, bring it out to there. And can you imagine he's a lawyer out of Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, he was 18 when he got injured. So he was a young boy. He was just at the beach with his family, got picked up by the waves, and smacked onto the ocean floor and broke his neck. I mean, who knew a simple trip to the beach could leave you quadriplegic, right?
Yeah, and he's a complete quad.
He's a complete quad, like more advanced than you are, and he's married, he has kids, he's a very accomplished lawyer in Washington, D.C., and he runs this not-for-profit organization.
And he's an inventor. He has a patent for
Right.
the golf thing.
Right.
So people who are disabled or who are quadriplegics or spinal cord, they can go and play on the golf course with that equipment they have it.
I mean, just how incredible is that to be inspired by someone like that, and have them be your mentor, or just listening to these people it blows
Imagine
my mind.
their resilience, to overcome everything. Imagine he's 18.
Every day. It's not a one-time thing. It's that they had to do that. It's like every day when he wakes up, just like you, right?
Yeah, and do you remember we have a guest, Bean Gill. She's a model. She's a keynote speaker. And she has different challenges, and she's a woman who just got hurt, injured, not even injured, just her immune system made her.
Yeah, it was a virus. She was on a conference in Las Vegas. I mean, Bean Gill is an award-winning keynote speaker. She's got the recently Order of Canada. I think I can't remember the exact award, but she got it from the Governor General of Canada, and she runs her own business as well, a very successful physiotherapy business, and also is. So she was on vacation in Las Vegas. She got contracted a virus that made her disabled. Like, how crazy is that?
And she was married. Her husband divorced
And
her.
her husband left her.
And now look at her. Everybody, if you look at her, she is an amazing person. She's on a Rick Hansen Foundation. She has created the business, which is new, which is an Australian base, where they train their mind for people to recover their injury fast. Not with the medicines, not just with exercises.
Right.
Training their mind in a way to how powerful our mind is so that you can overcome whatever is not working for you.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And then we have a guest, Chris from Spinal Cord Range BC. He's a
CEO, yeah.
Can you imagine this guy? He was becoming a neuro person. He was
neurosurgeon, I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
He left everything just to be administrator of this thing. And what Spinal Cord Range does is, I'm a mentor in it. Bring out because see, when you get disabled, the things are changed for you. Your friends are not those friends anymore. Because how are you going to do things? Yes, we are. A lot of people are there. I had it. My friends are friends, but they cannot understand me. They cannot, why do I have to go at 8 o'clock in the night to bed or whatever the reasons are. But, he's running an organization, Spinal Cord Range BC, which bring out the people, meet other people like me.
Like a peer mentorship program,
Yes.
yeah.
Take them out to the events, have a coffee, chit chat, talk about your stupidity things, talk about which I cannot talk to you. I can talk to them, hey, you know what, my leg back is not working properly. And you know, what I leg back. So something I can talk about because they can relate to me. They take them out to the events, have a lunch with them. Just to get out. Just that's what his whole goal is. Just to make sure to bring the people out. Not in the remaining in the box, get out.
And we had Elizabeth Botteroff, obviously
Yes.
completely mind blown by the work that she's doing. She's a PhD, so officially a doctor of philosophy, I guess is. I mean, so she can use the title doctor, and she's doing research on improving sexual function for people with disabilities. I mean, that blew my mind because something that all able-bodied people take for granted. You know, every time someone with a advanced disability has to get a arousal, they've got to take some pills and or pumps or equipment that they're spending a lot of money on, and then they probably don't have the same level of arousal and or the pleasure that can come from it. And she's made it her life's mission to work on improving that for people in all odds of, everyone's like, well, it's like, well, isn't there other things you need to worry about? Like, shouldn't you be worried about if you can hold things or feed yourself? It's like, yeah, all of those things are important, you know? And if you're a young man and recently, like Joshua's case, 18-year-old, he's married with kids, isn't sexual health an important part of a good relationship? So it's, and for both men and women.
Yeah, she's doing a lot of research on the women and the men, and just not getting make sure the system working, to making sure that you can actually feel for it. You can have the ultimate thing. You understand? So think this way. She's working literally a God's work. Like imagine you're a husband wife. Now your wife is disabled. Your husband is disabled. Now you don't have that relationship anymore. So she's bringing that spark in your life, that spark, which is everybody's looking. When people get 50, they get older, piss of water, and they're looking cheating or all those things. But that's what she's bringing. So if you get disabled, you don't have to worry about it. She's bringing out that spark of your life, so your relationship can forever be out there. So you don't
Yeah.
feel bad about it. Hey, like, who I'm gonna be with that. If you're an able-bodied person, able-bodied people, because in disability, that a lot of time happen. People when get disabled, their partners or whoever, they leave them because
Yeah.
everybody think about themselves. But this, what she's doing research about that, she's literally bringing the God's work. She's making the relationship work again.
Yeah. And, then we obviously on that same theme, we interviewed Steph Sia, who is a multi-talented person, among which are things like a very established award-winning podcaster, YouTuber of many channels, and she's also a sex worker as her primary job, but she also has a regular job, like a regular business job, and she sits on boards of different organizations and really comes from a perspective of giving meaning to the work that sex workers do, specifically, especially for people with disabilities, and educating that not all sex workers are exploited or are desperate or are coming from a place of, uh, you know, abuse or disadvantage. There, some people have chosen to do this work because they think it's important and they like it. It's their choice, and they add value to people with disabilities sometimes, because now these people, otherwise, sometimes if they got married or if they were single when they got injured, they don't have an alternate source of pleasure.
Sex work is such a stigma in this in our world, even though she's coming on face to face, because most of the sex workers, they're hiding their face, they're hiding their identity, everything, and she's advocating about them, and she's supporting them, and uh, I can't even imagine how many challenges she must be faced about it regarding those things, but she does it, and she's promoting sex as a work, not just sex as a pleasure. And in disability community, I'm just looking at on both the sides of it, of the coin, that sex, as I said, I have you have met a lot of younger peers or my friends who are younger, but them, they cannot find a partner now. So, she's advocating about it that yes, it's safe for them to come down to the sex worker and fill up your needs of what you needed for it. And as a companion, as a person to talk to. Because, sex worker is just not about sex. Sex workers can be about a companionship. Some sex worker can we talk about someone who wants to talk about his feelings. That's we have different ideas about life. And talk about the employment. We just have a guest, Bob, Valley Inclusion, how he is bringing the change in this world by making sure all the companies, all these industries, they accept us to work, accept us to be inclusive, just not hire able-bodied person, hire disabled people, how we can be a really benefit to your business. And if I'm not mistaken, Ankit, you have hired a lot of times people who are disabled in your company.
Yeah, we definitely have. And honestly, I was blown away by Bob's credentials. He's worked for the United States senators. He's been a professor in universities around the world in Africa. He has been a award-winning author for two books, one specifically on disability, and he talks a lot about inclusion of people with disabilities, but all kinds. And his actually premise is that hiring people with disability is not just a nice to do; it's a must do because it actually improves your organization. He gave examples of a ton of companies, but one specific one is hydroponic farms, that company that basically kind of like a greenhouse, but basically vertical farming inside of a building. And they were having trouble finding employees, and they found this talent of people who identified it as autistic were extremely diligent and capable of this specific work. So they literally have built their business model around hiring people with autism and tapped into a talent pool that can elevate their business, and now they're expanding. They've got more facilities coming up. I was blown away. And yes, you're right. I do hire people with disabilities in my business. We are partnered with local organizations, and obviously a lot of my talent, my desire for this comes from having experienced this. But I think genuinely that there are advantages to people hiring people with disabilities, and don't go out of your way to not hire them or hire them, but be open to the possibility of including them in your application and interviewing process, and you'd be amazed at the quality you'll get. That's kind of the experience we've had on this podcast, is that people with disabilities are just as
Amazing people.
talented, right? Just as talented as able-bodied people, and despite or in spite of the challenges that they live with every day.
Yeah, we have just amazing people.
Yeah, in general, not individually, everyone.
Yeah, come on. Say it, Ankit, just say it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would like to just maybe figure out how to end this in a positive way, which is hard to do with you on the podcast. But I mean, one thing I remember, you were like, I remember Tesla came out with the Cyberbot, and you were like, oh, I'm gonna get this robot because it'll help make my life better. And conclusively, both your wife and myself, we were both sitting there, we're like, Amit, you don't need the bot. We need the bot because you have us. You literally, we're running around constantly to serve you. We need help here. So on that note, I would say, like, I'm excited to be working on this podcast with you. We're going to be shooting a lot more episodes, and this is just season 1.
No, thank you, Ankit, for joining this journey, Ori. And I think so. We just started. Our spaceship has not even taken off yet, but soon we're gonna be way amazing horizons on it, and we're going to meet different people around the world, and how we'll be able to change their life, how we can educate them, how we can change the perspective of looking life in a different way in every other eye. And thanks to our producer, Chad, thanks to our studio, Tamir, thank you all the team who's working, not without any money yet, for us. And thanks to them, because they believe in this thought for us to continue to work on it. Thank you for listening.
Please leave a review and follow our socials.
For more information, go to the show notes of this episode.
We'll see you soon on the next episode of the Living Unbroken podcast.